compassion. It has a lot of different definitions. But when I think about compassion, I think about with passion and trying to do everything from my heart and with passion. When we hire people in the front, we always look for caring, compassionate personalities and people that care about other people and like to be in service to other people. And as I explain often, being in service to people is great. Being in servitude to other people is not something that I believe in. And sometimes it becomes a fine balance. The way I explain it to a lot of the people that I work with is that it's a combination of two businesses. It's manufacturing and retailing. And so we have a kitchen where roughly a third of our employees work, and we have what we call the front of the house where 2/3 of our team members work. And it's a different skill set required for all of those things. But since compassion has become one of my new favorite words, in all cases you look for people that have passion. I think one of the things I'm proudest of is the hiring practices that we do have, and I've always wondered why more people don't do what we do. But for example, and this is pretty much unlike any other business that I know of, much less any other restaurant business that I know of, we have a very lengthy application. We have lots of questions of people to get them to think about what it is that they're looking for and what they want and what skill set they bring and provide. Every single person has to come in and work a minimum of a day as part of our interview. And that is really more for them than it is for us. They fill out our application, they go through usually a minimum of 2 face-to-face interviews, then we invite them in for what we call a test drive. And a test drive is, I always explain it this way, that I can't imagine that anyone would ever buy a car without test driving it. They wouldn't buy clothes without trying them on. They wouldn't get married certainly without dating somebody. And yet some people take a job just on the basis of a very short interview, often with someone they never see again. And so I never wanted our business to be that way. Then, to a meal period, we invite them to work with at least 4 different people for roughly a half hour each. And we encourage them to ask, what do you like about working here? What do you not like about working here? How's Cappy to work with? How's Trevor to work with? What do you wish were different? How much money do you make? We invite them to ask all the questions that people normally ask after 3 or 4 or 4, 5 or 6 weeks working someplace. I'd much rather them know ahead of time what the answers to those questions were. And in the meantime, it becomes a peer interviewing process, so we go around and ask all the people they work with, what do you think about so-and-so? And do you think that they would fit? Do you think they would be a good addition to our team? And then we sit down and have a pleasant lunch together, and we either offer them a job or we don't, and they either accept or they don't. And I was, rarely does it happen, but occasionally someone says, this is not the right place for me. And I will say a quick no is far better than a long maybe. And that saves everybody time, effort, and money and helps everyone make a better decision. Well, the mission's pretty simple. We would just like our restaurants to be the best restaurants, or among the best restaurants in the city of San Antonio. And hopefully, that means also in the state and to some degree in the whole country. Philosophically, what I explain is that when people go to restaurants, they have lots and lots of choices. And someone might have eaten here 100 times, but if they have one really bad experience here, they're very likely to never come back again. And everyone has to be part of a team and think like a team member and not egocentrically be a person just in it for themselves. Everyone has to have pride in what they do, and it sounds trite, but everyone needs to wear a smile as much as possible. You know, it's the little things that make the difference between greatness and just being okay. So we work on those little things all the time. And nothing like knowledge to give you confidence, so we train our staff a lot. Well, I've had people ask me, why in the world did you get into the restaurant business? And to be honest with you, it's kind of a long and boring story, but I studied engineering and business in college, and I worked designing airplane interiors and airplanes when I was in high school and college. I wanted to find a business to be in where I was selling something that people wanted to buy, not had to buy. And for example, in the airplane industry, you never really got to meet the clients that ultimately wanted the airplane or bought the airplane. It was all about building the airplane and a relationship with a rather inanimate object. I had a short stint and a very intense stint owning a car repair shop, because on the side I used to love to restore and repair old Porsches. So I had a friend that had a Volkswagen and Porsche repair shop. He offered me part ownership, and I thought, well, that'd be fun to do, so I did that for a year. And there are many things about it that I love, but the part I didn't like is that no one really wanted to have their car repaired. And you were selling a product that no one really wanted to have, they just kind of had to have. So the restaurant business is fun. People do have to eat, but they got lots and lots of choices, and it's fun to sell a product that people like and want to buy. And that product isn't just food. It's ambiance, it's a community feeling. So we feed a lot of different appetites all in the same individual. It's always curious to me these days when you call someone, you say, would you like to meet? Could we have a meeting? Could we? And the first thought is, what lunches do you have available? And it seems like most people, their life is, and their business is in a building, in a room, and a cubicle sometimes, and that's what their business life is. Our business is the public, and it is the community, and I've had restaurants that served over 1,000 people every day. These restaurants serve about 500 people every day, and that's a lot of the community. And a year's time, you feel like virtually most of the people in the community come here, and they have confidence that we're going to do the best job we can. Community is what life is about to me. And so it's sort of all natural. I think the last 4 mayors of the city of San Antonio have their breakfast meeting once a month here with it's called the Legislators' Breakfast. And I was thinking, well, this is Alma Heights, not San Antonio, but they come here. Every time I find myself saying the government, I change it to our government. And whenever one of my friends says the government, I say it's our government. And I think if all of us would do that, it would more personalize our government. And we have local government, we have state government, we have national government, and even to some degree international government. And I think most everyone these days is a little disappointed, to a lot disappointed, in our government. And I hate to complain about things that I don't try to make a little bit different if at all possible. I'm in the restaurant business, not in the government business. I did try to serve on our city council once, and somebody asked me why I didn't do that, and the friend that was having lunch with him interrupted him. He said, "You did that?" He said, "I did that once." He said, "I didn't make a single new friend. I lost a lot of my old ones, and they didn't pay me a dime." And I said, "Well, it just summed up the whole experience." I don't know that I was a very good politician, but I tried very hard to make a difference. I think our country, our way of life, our children, our grandchildren, all deserve some effort from all of us to make sure that we build a better community. There's lots of things that are very perplexing about our community, and that's the whole concept of peace. Isn't it curious that we're the most warlike creatures that God ever put on the earth? And it seems like we just have a tendency to want to battle with one another sometimes, or some of us do with other people. I have to tell you, it's hard. Some days people come into our restaurant and they're outrageous, and they don't act well, and they aren't kind, and they aren't nice. And occasionally I have to ask them never to come back again. So it's not all nicey-nicey. It's a hard thing, and life is hard. But I'm glad that I do what I do. It's been a lot of fun for as many years, and I'm glad it's part of the community. We've done a lot of things over the years, but one thing I did for about 14 years is I used to handwrite a note on every single employee's paycheck, every single payday. And it became far more important than the amount on the check. But we got up to close to 1,000 employees, and it would take most of my Thursday morning, and it wasn't a long statement, but I really tried from my heart to remember each person and to think of something to say to them that was from my heart, not from my mind. And it got hard. It got really hard. But I did it for a long, long time. Today, in our company, when someone has an anniversary with our company and they also have a birthday, Susie mostly, or I, write them a card, and it's really from her heart and from our collective heart. And we include in there movie tickets to go to the movies, and also, if they've been with us a year, $100, 2 years, $200, 3 years, $300, and any beyond that, $300. It's a thank you. I was explaining that everyone that works for us are volunteers. The guests that come here are volunteers. We're all volunteers. I'm a volunteer. I don't have to be here. They don't have to be here. And I respect that and appreciate that. And so maybe it's volunteer pay that they get as a little bonus for being here. Someone that was a mentor to me a long time ago had some basic philosophies. One of them was that when you're in the restaurant business, you have to give someone more than a meal. And you have to give employees more than a paycheck. And so I thought about that a lot.